Harry Donahue. This is...
And I'm Matt Nawn.
We're board members from the Friends of Philadelphia Trolleys. And we're here with our first major restoration project, which we finished in 2009. Philadelphia car 2168, and we're here at the Baltimore Streetcar Museum. Now this car sat outside for a long time. It had 50 some years on the streets of Philadelphia. The last 12 years it sat outside. And we did a major restoration back in 2009, but even though it's kept inside, those hard winters in Philadelphia are still catching up with the car. So we're starting another fundraiser. One of the things we just finished was a complete set of new doors. The doors on it dated back to 1973. So we just put all new doors done by Jerry Sattarelli, a master carpenter.
Right, well, thanks to our donors, as well as a matching grant from the National Railway Historical Society, we have these new doors, high quality doors, which the last set lasted almost 50 years. These should last at least as long in the controlled environment here. But we need your help once again. Friends of Philadelphia Trolleys donors and friends were extremely generous, helping us invest $43,000 in the original restoration and more over time for maintenance. But again, as Harry mentioned, years of hard use prior to Baltimore means we need your help once again. And along with that, we have some areas in the car we'll show you that are going to be part of the scope of the remaining repairs to the car body.
Right.
So Harry, why don't you talk about the spot up here,
right,
on the side.
Again, before we brought the car to Baltimore, it sat outside in Philadelphia for 13 years. And this roof seam is starting to go just above the destination side. So that all needs to be cut out and all new steel put in there. We have a guy that can do it from RMS up in Columbia, Pennsylvania. He's going to do the work on site here in Baltimore. If we don't attend to this, it's just going to get worse, and water will get up in that seam and just corrode the steel. The steel, remember, is 73 years old. When these cars were designed, they estimated that they'd have a service life of 25 years. So this is way past 25 years, and we want to keep it in really good shape.
And at this point, we can point out some other areas of the car. Why don't we walk around? We'll point some more areas, like up here at the front by the number 1 door in this corner. This is just old body rot. When the car was refinished in 2009, the car was completely stripped, rebuilt, but there was still hidden rot trapped under the body seam here, which, as Harry mentioned, think of this as good preventative maintenance. We do this now, it saves a lot of work later. And the car is arguably the most used car in Baltimore. This is, if you want to say, the beater car, the car that is out every week in the museum's running. Santa Claus uses this car. It's, again, arguably the most used, the most popular car here. Doing this now will pay dividends in terms of the long-term sustainability of this car. So you see this spot here, and then as we walk around to this side, Harry and I can show you some more areas, this other side of the car in particular. Harry, why don't you talk about this spot under the operator?
Okay, this is the floor line, and most PCCs do have a problem here after 20 or 30 years. Again, this car ran in the salty, snowy streets of Philly for 50 plus years. The salt gets up in the floor line. Now, when this car was restored in 2009, this looked perfectly good. But the salt is under there, and it's just working its way out. It starts with bubbles, and then the steel cracks. If we don't do something about this, we're going to have major structural problems.
Right. Part, as Harry said, the floor line's here. So what you have is underneath the rubber is a wooden floor, and the body is deteriorated. Water gets in, and the wood holds the water like a sponge,
right,
rotting it out. The work will include removing this rubber end. It can't come off. We'll make new stands for it, enabling our body man to come in and cut this entire area out and replace it with new paint underneath it and put the rub rail back on. We've done this with 2 restorations that Harry and I have managed since 2168. It pays dividends. This is the opportunity to do it here on this car. Again, you have some more areas as you work down. That's probably the worst, under the operator's seat.
Yeah.
You have a couple spots here, and then Harry, there's a couple spots along the roof seam again.
Right. Eventually, we're going to have to do more work on the seam, the roof seam. Hopefully, that's a couple years off.
Right.
But our big project now is to get this cancer by the floor line.
We have a couple other areas. Why don't we walk to the back? We can show you at the back corner, which
Okay.
again is a classic spot for PCC cars to rust.
The car was finished in 2009. In 2011, we saw some of the cancer starting right here. And the guys that finished this car for us came back, cut this section out, repaired it, primed it, painted it, and as you can see, it looks brand new. This is what we need to do with the other two spots.
Right, we can walk to the other side and see the other corner, which was not done at that time. It didn't deteriorate. It now has. So as we come around the car, you can see in particular this spot here. And one of the things this will enable us to do is, and Harry and I, for two other projects, again, that we managed, two other PCC restorations, what we did was have them take the rub rail off. Now, as designed, you can see the rub rail mounts flush to the back corner of the car body. The only problem is this area traditionally collects water. By mounting this on a small stand and bringing it out so that you have about a 1/4 inch of an opening, water can get through, enabling the new steel, once cut in, not to deteriorate like this again. But again,
If you could contribute any amount, we'd be really grateful. We'd like to raise about $6,000. You can send your checks to the address on the screen, Friends of Philadelphia Trolleys Incorporated. Remember your checks, your amount, it is tax deductible. If you send it in, we would be really grateful because this is a hard-working car. It's out every weekend in Baltimore.
thank you again for your support and your contributions. We're
Thank
truly
you
grateful.
so much.